long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So, the Disney proxy battle that Nelson Peltz is waging has gotten hotter. He has made it known to the Disney board and the Disney company of his intention of nominating himself and a man named Jay Rasulo, who is the former CFO of Disney, to board seats. And it's getting to the point where obviously Iger's going to have to do something. It is the feeling of this channel, just a theory, but still a feeling that Disney probably did have something to do with FTX. They still haven't addressed the $3 billion that's been missing. And we're thinking that, or I am thinking, that the reason why Iger is so worried about Peltz and now Rasulo getting onto the boards that they can look at the books and maybe realize what was going on. Already they added 2 other people to the board, but they were Iger's people, and there's still a proxy battle going on. Now, why did Nelson Peltz jump into this? Treon feels that Disney is a proper company, that they have unparalleled IPs, unparalleled brand recognition, etc., but they are performing way under, they're underachieving by a lot, let's put it that way. And that's one reason, but here's the other reason. This is Ike Perlmutter, who was the head of Marvel Entertainment, and he's always been a nemesis of Bob Iger. And Perlmutter's shares are what Treon Partners are using to fight the proxy fight. Perlmutter is, look, this is a personal vendetta now. And this is actually, I'm going to be very honest, what happens in corporate politics, what happens in politics. Okay. If you think George Bush really liked Ronald Reagan, he didn't. Okay, he didn't. Didn't like his politics, didn't like anything that he stood for because he thought he was dangerous. But Reagan brought him on as a compromise so the Rockefeller Republicans would be happy. Okay. And that's what happens in corporate politics. When it gets to the point right now where people are so pissed off at each other, Perlmutter is pissed off personally at Iger for firing him, that is when you see shit like this go down. Okay, it's destructive. Okay, it's look, I could look at the Kathy Kennedy, I'm not leaving, and I'm gonna burn everything down on the way out. That's her personal issue. And she's hurting the company by doing that. And while this video isn't about Star Wars, this is a personal problem that Iger has to resolve for the good of the company. Would it be wise to have Peltz on the board? My personal sense is yes. I think Rasulo and Peltz, from what I know, would be a good move. But for Iger's personal safety, would it? Okay, let's talk about this further because it's very interesting.
For 10 long weeks, the Star Wars company labored on the suburban London sound stages, bringing to life a film that had begun as an idea with George Lucas 3 years before.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
No! No!
believe this. You're actually kicking me out?
Do you want me to draw you a picture?
We'd be here all night.
Get out!
Yes, I think that Iger probably would have been smart to fire Kevin Feige when he fired Victoria Alonso, but that is neither here nor there. Firing Perlmutter, he created an enemy, and if you're a leader, if you've already got ideological like issues with somebody of which direction or whatever that you're going in, you don't want to make it worse. And firing Perlmutter out of vindictiveness made it worse. Now, was Perlmutter a bad leader for Marvel Entertainment? Not necessarily. Feige's the one that let Marvel go woke. Okay, Feige's the one that got into identity politics. Okay, that's what Marvel's problem is right now. Okay. And Ike Perlmutter's in his 80s, and I don't see him being a woke individual. Now, this is the Variety X post. Disney said it will review Treon's intent to nominate Nelson Peltz and former Disney CFO Jay Rasulo as directors. Again, I think this is a good idea. Fresh eyes are always welcome. The fact that Treon Partners is right, that Disney's not performing up to the standards that they should be, that they have been underperforming by a lot. And I look at Marvel right now, and Lucasfilm as being the biggest problems. Okay. And part of that is, personnel is policy. Kathy Kennedy's still at Lucasfilm. Pablo Hidalgo's still at Lucasfilm. Ike Perlmutter, again, took this personally. Again, I'm going to ask, would it have been wiser to fire Feige and keep Perlmutter? I would think yes, but again, when Iger came back, he went on a vindictive, I think, rampage with Perlmutter, and this is what happened. Okay. And now he's got a fight on his hands. Ike Perlmutter doesn't seem like the kind of guy to just give up and roll over and play dead. All right, he's not going to sign an NDA like Bob Chapek did and, go to the Caribbean and sit on a beach and say, fuck you to everybody. Okay. That's not what he does. He was at, I don't know how long Ike Perlmutter was at Marvel, but I think he understood the IP. But again, Iger being who Iger is, and of course, what they like to do is they like to use Perlmutter's supposed political affiliations. He's, I think, a Republican. I think he's a Trump supporter, and somehow that's bad. In America now, you can't follow the politics you personally believe in because someone might be offended. Isn't that the stupidest thing you've ever heard? Why, yes, it is. But there you go. And what I think is going on is that Disney is not performing up to the standards. Perlmutter is using this to take a swipe at Iger, and I honestly don't see how Iger can keep them off the board. I mean, Rasulo and Peltz. They did redo the rules for joining the Disney board after Peltz announced he was going to get into a proxy fight with them. And now Disney's going to review Treon's request, and we'll see where it goes from there, but I think that it's going to be a fight. I really do. And it's going to be very interesting going forward, because if Iger does not drop the emails, apparently, that Gina Carano and other YouTubers have talked about, and Sparrow had confirmed to Cameron, soon, it's going to be, he's going to have to do it. And I want to tell you guys something. Everyone talks about how, quote unquote, the imaginary dangerous Kathleen Kennedy. No one ever considers Bob Iger to be more formidable. All right. And he survived, 30, 40 years at ABC and the Walt Disney Company. this guy is a lion, okay? And he is not to be underestimated. And he's like, I would say, Kennedy picked the wrong guy to fuck with. Okay, she fucked with Lucas, Ford, and Spielberg and got humiliated in front of everybody. And she's been trying to fuck with Iger for the last 2 or 3, how many years he's been there now. And if he goes down, he's going to take her with him. He's going to take everybody that fucked with him with him. Okay, and that's the one thing he could tell her. Now, again, Sparrow did say that apparently she reached out to Peltz, and Peltz told her to go fuck herself. Okay, because she's one of the reasons why Disney's underperforming. If you are running the biggest IP in history, which is Star Wars, why the fuck are you losing the last Star Wars movie? The Rise of Palpatine lost money. I don't care what anyone says. It did not make $1 billion. That's gross receipts. It probably lost $100 million. Okay. Then you got Solo, which lost $300 million. Then you've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which again, sadly, it lost $50 million. Why is she still there? All right. You got to look at Nelson Peltz asking that question. Looking at her, he obviously knows, he's got to know what's on her contract. And he's like, who would let her re-sign a contract like that when they don't have any power over it? Which is what that contract is. So just keep your eyes on this proxy fight because it's going to get really interesting. And I'm on Peltz's side. But I also understand Iger. I do have grudging respect for him. Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.